are configured, and how do we navigate into the system, and how do we use this list view and form views. So in major cases, list and form are the one that any record that we are trying to target, we may be seeing them in either of these two views. So looking into the instance, we'll take back to our incident example again. So if I click on search for incident, it shows up in the module. And the one that we are seeing here is called the list view. And if I open any record, this is what we call it as a form view. So form view is nothing but all the detailed information about a particular ticket. And list view is nothing but all the information about a particular table that holds all the records in it. And the list view, we can go ahead and write some filters. Let's say I only want to see the incidents that are created by a dedicated user. I can say whoever is the caller is. So who's the caller for this incident? And I can write table tutor. So these are the filters. I can go ahead, run this filter. I can save this filter for easier usage next time. So incidents by Abel. Abel is a very annoying person who creates a lot of incident for us. So I can go ahead and create a filter for me. That filter will be available here. I can go ahead and say incidents by Abel. Right now, this is the filter applied. So if I'm elsewhere, I navigate to my incident form. If it is open incidents, I can directly go ahead and select the created filter here. And this is going to be incident by Abel. So what exactly happens here is this filter gets applied automatically, and I get an option to, let's say, decide based on the state. I only want to see states that are new, so I can go ahead and click on show matching. So it will only show states that are new, or I can remove this by removing the filter here. I also have an option to do filter out. So this filter outs the list that is not having the state as well. So a couple of options are available in the list. We can go ahead and I can even update some values. So for example, the short description is testing new save. So I can go ahead and say testing the list view of incident table. So this short description gets updated here. I can also do a bulk update. So if I want to update the state, or let's say the description only, I can select both of them, enter, I can say bulk update on short disk from list view. So both incidents short description gets updated. So bulk updates are allowed. I can go ahead and filter, create some custom filters. I can click here to remove this filter. I also have an option to group by. So let's say I want to group by based on the state. So we have additional column options. And select group by state. It will group by all this information. I can expand this and use this. I can click anywhere in the column option again. I can ungroup. And this is available. And there are additional options that I can do. So I can search here in the description. I can do star. Star is a unique identifier for us, where it's going to say any incident that contains short description as start. And it already has a coming filter. So it will only show able tutors caller with short description as test. So I can go ahead and remove something in between in the filter also. So if I click on this, it will remove that filter. It will show all the incidents that are currently active with the short description containing test. So I can make similar searches anywhere in all the columns, or I can go ahead and remove them and keep it default. So I can sort it. So if you see this particular number, it is actually sorted from Z to A. If I click this, it will sort it from A to Z. So based on the numbers, based on the alphabets available, it will try to sort either by ascending or descending. And the key most option that we have is if I select multiple records here, I have an action that I can perform here. The main one is delete with preview, archive records. These are just, in the backend, it will go ahead and either archive this or delete this particular record. I have an option to repair SLAs, add this to Visual Task Board, or create application file. All these are for future purposes. And if I have a custom application, I can create an application file using which I can load this as a demo date. There are options available for me to assign this as a task. So if I'm assigning this as a task, assign the tag, this goes and these two incident are going to be assigned for that particular tag. Tags are mainly intended for custom referencing purposes. So if I want to quickly query this incident, but no two incident has a same characters or same references, but I want to create a relationship between these two records. So I can go ahead and create a custom tag by myself. So I can click on new tag and create a tag myself, or I can remove those existing tags. Option and feature that is available for us in the list view is personalizing the list view. So we have an option here that is update personalized list. And let's say if I want to go ahead and remove some columns from here, I don't want to see the category and subcategory information. I only want to see the subcategory. I don't want to see the short description. So I can remove all this and click on OK. So this will update the list view by removing all those columns. This is dedicated to this particular user. So personalizing means it's personalizing for the particular user. So it's for a personal use. It's not going to impact any other user. So a different user, if they log in, they may still see the default columns that are configured for them. But if you want to make change entirely for all the users, in that case, go ahead, go for configure, and then select list layout. So any changes you make in the list layout, which means this change is going to be global. So all users will be impacted if I'm making changes here on the list layout. So as a Q-tip, as and when you get any requirement, go ahead and do these changes on the list layout. But if it's only for your purpose, if you only want to see some data, if you don't want to see some data, prefer the personalized list option so that you don't mess up the instance. That being said, let's play around with the form now. Form is almost similar. All the data regarding the particular incident will be available for us here. And the form is split into multiple sections. The first one is the context menu. In the middle, we are seeing the contents. If I scroll down a little bit, I'm seeing the sections. So I can actually split the entire data into different sections that is available for me in the incident table. And I have more sections here. I can create my own section like this and add some additional columns into this. And if my incident is logically related to any of the other tables, I can bring them as a related list here. And we have these buttons. These buttons are called UI actions. So these actions are going to perform whatever activity that it is intended to. So if I want to delete this, I want to resolve this incident, update, all this happens with the help of this particular UI actions. And as I said, there are two things when it comes to related links. This is also UI action. So anything that you see as a button or a link in the form, you can consider them as a UI action. And the way that it is configured is mainly based on whatever the request is. But again, these are just related links. This is the related list. Again, if there are any records related to this particular incident, that will be available in the list form list view for us here. So if there are multiple records, all those will be available for us in the list view. So on the context menu, if I right click, we'll see all the different options. Anywhere else I do this, anywhere else I do this, I'll see the browser specific one. And if I right click on any columns, I'll see an option to configure that label, configure the dictionary, configure its style, and show more details about the particular column that I'm referring for. So apart from this, we have an option to add an attachment. So I can manage an attachment. I can download the existing ones, or I can choose a file and add new attachments to this. We have one more concept called activity stream. This will take us to what has happened in the history of this particular instance. So if I click on this, it will take me to the work notes. It will show me all details that are happening in the past. So it says field changes are made on 11th of May, somewhere around 10 o'clock. And similarly, an attachment was added to it around same time. So all those history will be available for us on the activity stream. I have an option to personalize the form. So this is similar to personalizing the list. If I don't want to see some columns, I can go ahead and just, let's say, don't want to see active, click here, it vanishes from the form. And I click here, it appears again. So this is on a personalized form, so which means it is only for us as a personal user. But if I want to configure, I can go ahead and configure the form layout or form design and then bring the additional columns. I mean, Q-tip, make sure that you don't do this kind of configuration until unless you're requested and approvals are given from your management or the stakeholders. Then go ahead and make these changes here, because these are going to impact all the users who are using this form. So that's pretty much it. When it comes to form, we have the content, we have the section, we have the related links, UI actions, and the related list on the form. So any changes that I make, let's say if I want to go ahead and update it, just update or the short description, I can click on update. Observe what happens as and when I click on update, it updates the record and takes me back to the previous window which I have opened. So previously I was in this configure form layout section, so it has taken me to that window. So I can go back and just update save. Now observe, if I right click on the context menu and click on save, it remains in the same place. So we don't navigate into a different window if you make any changes. So update and save, what they do is it will submit the record to the database, it will save the record in the database, and it will take us to the previous window which we have opened. So it assumes that we need to go back, so it goes back. But as and when you want to be remaining on the same place, right click on the context menu and click on save. So there are a lot more to see with what these options are, which will be seeing in the upcoming.